All right. We're on schedule, and I'm your last speaker. I'm going to talk to you about Bitrefill Thor APIs, and I'm really going to, so my initial goal with putting this together was just to kind of educate and socialize awareness around the API's existence, and I have another angle to take on it, which is, let me just get started. Speaking kind of about onboarding for Lightning, and I'm coming from a background in web development and entrepreneurship and startups, so I bring that to cryptocurrency and to Bitcoin. And so with Bitcoin we have sound money, with Lightning we have programmatic payments. And so how does that connect with these startup efforts and these user experiences? And so one of the ways of looking at startups, or a central component of startup efforts, is the battle against friction, and it's generally represented through funnels where you have drop off, and the more difficult a step is, the fewer people make it through. And so with Bitcoin, and we have significant friction, and some of this is strictly necessary for the nature of the decentralized system. But facing friction, people will seek alternatives, often in the form of, for example, hosted wallets, right? So you have non-custodial wallets. And the battle is continuously, so we want to diminish friction in order to shift people away from hosted wallets and into these fully decentralized wallets. And so one approach is Neutrino. So Neutrino has been, obviously it's used in the L&D system and in Lightning generally, but people have put forward using Neutrino as a way to bootstrap full nodes, because you can then reduce the friction of using that full node by having it basically immediately available. Initial block download is mitigated because you can use the wallet as a Neutrino wallet until initial block download completes. So switching to the Lightning Network, or considering the Lightning Network from this lens, we have a few points of friction in terms of getting started. You have initial block download, wallet funding, channel opening, but when you do those things, you result in decentralized operation. And we can mitigate initial block download with Neutrino. We can mitigate wallet funding with external channel funding, so like funding both a channel and the Lightning wallet at the same time, or not separately funding the Lightning wallet. That's now available on C Lightning. And in channel opening, like we said earlier, in response to that question, channel opening is strictly subject to confirmation time, because if you don't have the channel in place and the funds locked, you can't reliably send those funds in the network. So how do we mitigate these later questions? And keeping in mind, of course, that if we don't, first of all, I will say I think many users in the long run will still use hosted wallets. So, but the better we can improve the decentralized technology, we can shift those alternatives, shift to the better alternative. So what does Thor do? Okay, so we have the first Thor API was to open a channel. And so you can imagine using Thor as a way to onboard people to a Lightning wallet, where the initial channel opening goes through Thor. So this happens independent of wallet funding. So it's sort of a way of doing basically immediate funding of a channel without wallet funding. And then more recently they introduced Thor Turbo, which allows you to directly fund a channel that's immediately available or immediately accessible. Essentially what that does is it allocates to you a centralized channel or use of their centralized channels for the period of time that they guarantee 30 days of use. And so you can imagine the on-ramp to that is basically you load up the wallet, and as your first payment, or in service of your first payment, you can fund a Thor Turbo channel in addition to funding the wallet, so that you don't need to subject the user to initial block download and wallet funding. That results in an initial channel that is centralized, but it also enables them to immediately use the Lightning Network with very little overhead. And in this case,
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was under the impression that Thor was essentially a way to pay for inbound liquidity. Is that what it is, or is
that's the third? Yeah. So there are three APIs. The first is just channel opening. The second is turbo channels, and the third is Lightning payments, which allows for that kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay. So this again is Thor Turbo, and the third is Thor Recharge, and there you give them a Lightning payment, an invoice, and they will pay that for you. So for example, you can generate an invoice on your own node and have them pay funds to you, and you pay for them independently through their payment mechanisms, and that allows you to shift liquidity onto your side. So, okay. So with Thor Recharge, basically you could look at having that facilitate onboarding by, in the initial states, while the IBD and channel opening is happening, you can offer the option of having the wallet pay the invoice through this other mechanism when that's occurring, and that allows for you to make basically centralized payment for the period of time that passes until the local channel opens. So this again is a way of having immediate access to the Lightning Network, and in this case it doesn't require confirmation time because Bitrefill is using they're using their knowledge of you as an account, and they're taking on some risk themselves, and basically relying on the legal system to hold you responsible if you don't pay.
I think that kind of answers my question.
Okay, great. Yeah, so this is a way of, I'm looking at this I'm putting this forward as a way of minimally relying on centralized services in order to facilitate onboarding to decentralized services to avoid the alternative, which would then be using a hosted wallet or fully centralized alternative.
What's like a common use case? Why would I want to do this? Why would I want to pay them to give me inbound liquidity?
Right. So when you open a channel, you can only fund your own side of the channel. Right. And so if you want to continue to send payments after you've sent all the funds from your side of the channel to the other side, and you want to continue to send payments, you either need to rebalance, which is to say have funds reallocated back to you on your channel that's open, or you need to open another channel. So doing this is an instantaneous way to transfer funds through the Lightning Network back to you by having a separate payment that's outside the Lightning Network. All right. Yeah, so I'm just making, so Recharge is also useful for general payment fallback. So for example, if a payment fails to complete, you could offer the option of attempting through Recharge, because they have a different network or they have different connectivity in the network, so that could be useful. And then there's of course channel rebalancing that we've been talking about. And so I'm advocating for that, or I'm putting that forward as a way of facilitating this onboarding. For a wallet provider, you may want to just have the ability to plug in this kind of functionality so that it's outside your code base and there's just hooks to allow for these other fallback mechanisms. All right, that's all I have.
I have a question for clarification here. When you do the recharge, do you pay an on-chain payment, which they just accept at 0 conf, and pay a Lightning payment?
That is my understanding. They accept several. Yeah, they accept on a couple of payment methods.
So what's my benefit here versus falling back to just on-chain paying the recipient directly?
Well, you could.
Actually, they can open a really big channel, pay one fee for that, and then do many different Lightning payments to other people. So there's less total on-chain transactions if they batch them that way. Batching in the sense that one channel they open is bigger.
Well, you pay to Bitrefill, so there's your transaction, and if you have that directly to the recipient, that's the same number.
You're buying speed essentially. Like if you have to issue a L1 transaction to pay, I don't know, a vendor, they're going to have to sit there and wait for the payment to confirm to issue whatever the product is. And if you can route through, a counterparty, you can immediately have that transaction and get what you're buying or whatever.
you're paying Bitrefill to take a risk.
Yeah, you're shifting the risk from between you and the recipient of the payment to between you and Bitrefill.
It was also if you do pay with Bitcoin on chain, pay with like a credit card or something, and then you can pay while your wallet's still being loaded.
Right. They have other methods of payment.
What are the implications for privacy?
I would say, yeah, you don't have privacy with respect to Bitrefill. They will know all your payment details. But I would say it's a temporary intervention as an alternative to the waiting and the friction that would otherwise occur.
So essentially, they know for 30 days who you are, and then you can get out of.
Right.
Yes, they know how many payments you did. I guess maybe you also have an account, so maybe they know some of your on-chain balance as well. So.
On your refill,
Be careful certifying what
you
you say right
restrict that, what's the max and what's the minimum for the refill kind of things?
I'm not sure what the range of
I mean,
payments is.
if you want to refill, right? So will you do a preset kind of thing, or any amount you can just do? If let's say someone just blocked it and says he put 50 or 100 Bitcoin, and then there's a refill, then that's locked up the whole thing.
Well, it's bounded by your channel capacity. It's bounded by.
Well, it's like, so the max payment size in Lightning right now is around $400, so you can do multiple $400 refills possibly. That's kind of like the protocol level limit, which can be lifted in the future.
Got it.
All right. So I guess now we're free to hang out and have a few more drinks, and maybe go down the street afterwards. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, the demo?
Go ahead. Oh yeah, let's do the demo.
Okay.